Words of Sri Aurobindo from the book The Mother, Part 2, Letters on the Mother by Our Lord, Chapter 10, The Mother's Help in Difficulties, page 341, topic Removal of Recurring Difficulties. Question: what is the right way of meeting one's recurring difficulties? For this, Sri Aurobindo says equality, rejection, calling on the mother's force. I repeat, Sri Aurobindo said equality, rejection, calling on the mother's force. Date 1st August 1933. Sri Aurobindo says what stands in the way is the recurring circle of the old mixture. To break out of that is very necessary. To arrive at an inner yogic calm and peace, not disturbed by these things, if that is established, it will be possible to feel in it the mother's presence, to open to her guidance, to get, not by occasional glimpses, but in a steady opening and flowering, the psychic perception and the descent of the spiritual light and ananda. For that help will be with you. Date 7th March 1937. Sri Aurobindo continues to say, plenty of people have this condition. It is human nature, and there is naturally a way of coming out of it. Having full faith in the mother to quiet the inner mind, even if the outer continues to be troublesome, and call in it the mother's peace and force, which is always there above you, into the Adhara. Once that is there, consciously to keep yourself open to it and let it go on working with a full adhesion, with a constant support of your consent, with a conscious rejection of all that is not that, till all the inner being is tranquilized and filled with a mother's force, peace, joy, presence, then the outer nature will be obliged to follow suit in its turn. Date 8th May 1933. Next topic, recovery from bad conditions. Sri Aurobindo says these bad conditions are a lapse, often due to very slight cause from the inner poise to the outer consciousness. When they happen, do not get affected but remain quiet, call the mother and get back inward. Date 24th Jan 1936. An occasional sinking, says Sri Aurobindo, an occasional sinking of the consciousness happens to everybody. The causes are various. Some touch from outside, something not yet changed or not sufficiently changed in the vital, especially the lower vital, some inertia or obscurity rising up from the physical parts of nature. When it comes, remain quiet, open yourself to the mother and call back the true conditions and aspire for a clear and undisturbed discrimination, showing you from within yourself the cause of the thing that needs to be set right. Date 4th March 1932. Next topic, The mother's help in attacks. It is the forces of the ignorance that begin to lay siege and then make a mass attack. Every time such an attack can be defeated and cast out, there is a clearance in the Adhara, a new field gained for the mother in the mind, vital or physical, or the adjacent parts of the being. That the place in the vital occupied by the mother is increasing is shown by the fact that you are now offering a strong resistance to these sieges that used formerly to overpower you altogether. To be able to call the mother's presence or force at such times is the best way to meet the difficulty. It is with the mother who is always with you and in you that you converse. The only thing is to hear aright so that no other voice can come in between. Date 7th December 1933. Sri Aurobindo continues to say, however strong the attack may be, and even if it overcomes you for the time being, still it will rapidly pass away if you have formed the habit of opening to the mother. The peace will come back if you remain quiet and keep yourself open to it and to the force. Once something of the truth has shown itself within you, it will always, even for a time heavily clouded over with wrong moments, shine out again like the sun in heaven. Therefore, persevere with confidence and never lose courage. Next question. What is the best means for the sadhaks to avoid suffering due to action of the hostile forces? For this, Sri Aurobindo says, faith in the mother and complete surrender. Date 17th June 1933. Next question. When the sadhaks overlook some weakness of their nature in the process of transformation, is it not possible that it will be shown to them by the Divine Mother rather than through a painful wound at a weak point dealt by the hostile forces? For this, Sri Aurobindo says, if they are sufficiently open to the divine, it can be done. But most sadhaks have too much egoism and lack of faith and obscurity and self-will and vital desires. It is that shuts them to the mother and calls in the action of the hostile forces. Date 17 June 1933. Sri Aurobindo says, the play of the mental and vital defects in the human nature which belongs to the ignorance is allowed, as also the attacks and suggestions of the Asuric forces, so long as there is anything in the nature which responds to these things. If they rise in you in the presence of the mother, it is because then a strong pressure is put on them so that they have either to go out or put up a fight for existence. The remedy is to open to the mother only and to reject entirely and all times all the other forces, and to reject them most when they become most active. Faith, sincerity, perseverance will do the rest. Date 16th November 1932. Next topic, testing by the mother. Sri Aurobindo says the idea of test also is not a healthy idea and ought not to be pushed too far. Tests are applied not by the divine but by the forces of the lower planes, mental, vital, physical, and allowed by the divine because that is part of the soul's training and helps it know itself, its powers and limitations it has to overgrow. The mother is not testing you at every moment, but rather helping you at every moment to rise beyond the necessity of tests and difficulties which belong to the inferior consciousness. To be always conscious of that help will be your best safeguard against all attacks, whether of the adverse powers or of your own lower nature.